Hello, my dear friends. It's me again, and it's time for part 4 of this fantastic tale from Reddit user Erotius. This is part 4. The audacity of this. You know what word it is. I can't say it in the first minute, and I don't want to waste any more time, so, yeah, you know the one. As many of you will remember, I got sick and had to be nursed back to health by my mom last time. After returning home, I discovered that they were A, being evicted, B, had been using my rent money for not rent, and C, that my roommate, M, had been lying to me about it. So I went ballistic and moved out and moved in with my parents. This should have been the end. This should have been the very end of my interaction with these people. But I, dear readers, am a gullible idiot / soft-hearted fool. No. What you are is a good person. What you are is a very good person who's been put in a really, really bad situation. You are not an idiot, you're not a fool, but you are a very good person who has had their limits pushed, and all you want to do is see the best in people. I won't let you insult yourself. That's just not how Moonhorse rolls. Let's keep going. So there I was, back at my parents' house. Doing pretty okay for myself, settling in, building some credit, still working way too much, and applying for grants and scholarships. These, dear readers, were the salad days. Those halcyon days of my early 20s where the world was open to me. These were the times when I had money to burn. Time to pursue other things. Time to work on myself. I'd lived with my parents for the next 3 years, attending school and working at the hospital, joining a gym, participating in a string of the SCA, going to Friday night magic and making college friends, and pursuing some other interests. So confession time. I know neckbeards and the occult often go hand in glove for a lot of us. It was no different. I had been practicing pagan for years. I look back on that and cringe at my level of naivete. And I was a pretty deft hand with tarot and spells. That's how I reestablished my connection with Vampire Beard, whom I felt sorry for after we'd treated him so poorly. GB, a fellow practitioner, had something of his that she claimed to be using to cast negative spells on him. At the time, I heard he was in the hospital after suffering a near-fatal heart palpitation. Oh my god. So I put little sock in this, it being my craft and all. I took it before moving out and brought it back to him, so she couldn't use it anymore, and that's how we reconnected. VB is worthy of his own story, and he might get it, but for now, we're still on Georgia Beard. So I hadn't really heard from them in about 3 months outside of M checking in and telling me what was going on with the move. I was mostly ignoring him. I lived for those 3 months expecting to get a call from the apartment complex that I had essentially run out on. Before you say it, yes, I am aware that I should have called them and set something up, but I was a dumb kid doing something I thought was reckless because I thought it inconvenienced my terrible roommates. Then one day, playing World of Warcraft, it messages me. We're in the same guild, so this was not uncommon. We had a pair of rogues that were notorious on our server for causing trouble for the Alliance. We did raids together, arenas together. We had a history and game together. He wants to have lunch, just the two of us. I agreed, and we set a date and time. When he showed up with GB, I knew that I had been duped. They sat down, I got up, and said I had agreed to one-on-one and was tired of listening to her lies. M begged me to stay, and Georgia Beard apologized and said she wanted to apologize properly, so I sat like an idiot and heard them out. She said that she had lied and that she was sorry. She said that she had paid off all the outstanding debt and the extra cost for the repairs to the apartment. She said that she did this to say she was sorry, but it had been very expensive. This, dear readers, is the hook. I had taken the bait, and now came the hook. She handed me a receipt for $3,500. That's your half. Since your name is on the lease, I only paid M parts. You owe us. No. She looked confused. I didn't have to do that. I just didn't want M's credit wrecked. M has really good credit for some reason, like for a 22-year-old guy. I don't want this to affect the two of your friendship, but I will take you to court to get my... You stole $2,100 from me, and I gave you $700 like an idiot. At best, I owe you $700. Then you owe us $700. I want to see receipts first. I want proof you paid anything. And so, she proceeded to produce receipts. She had made payments, it seemed. She had receipts totaling $7,600. They were signed, dated, and ordered, and she had a letter typed telling her that our debt was paid. Were they handwritten? Yes. Was the letter on company stationery? No. Did any of the receipts bear the company name? No. I was a dumb kid who had not yet learned the ways of the world. Yes, I was. I'd been raised to believe that it was unacceptable to have a debt like that. If you owed some money, you paid them back. Enough said. Dad had made it very clear to me that otherwise was to be a mooch, so I agreed. Honestly, I had about $3,000 in savings. $700 was a drop in the bucket, but I still took this information home after agreeing to think about it. I told my parents, telling Dad specifically, he suggested I not pay her all at once. Pay her in installments. $200 paycheck. Make sure you get a receipt when you're done. And so that's what we did. Once I agreed to pay her, it was like all was forgiven. That's how I gained admittance to the parents' trailer. When I tell you, dear reader, about the horrors of this place, you will not believe me. You will say, Iru, such things are impossible. You're embellishing. You're pulling my leg, Mark. It's a funny joke. It is no joke, dear reader. If I thought my apartment was hell, this was the very asshole of Taratus. Yeah, hoarding behavior doesn't just show up. Usually it's learned. So I imagine this is where she learned it from. Come to find out, they had moved those 8 cats and 1 dog I had previously mentioned into this 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom trailer. They added them to the 27 cats and 2 dogs that already lived in the house. Oh, good lord. For those who can't math, that is 35 cats and 3 dogs. I'm going to fucking walk into the ocean. The first time I came in, I could not have told you what the carpet looked like. The carpet was a miasma of cat shit, garbage, soiled clothes, and litter. It's one of those places, I'm going to go ahead and say this, but it's one of those places that you walk into and your immediate thought is, my god, I'm so glad I'm wearing shoes. Yeah. Having grown up around a bunch of neckbeards and legbeards and the like who lived like that, I wasn't just wearing boots because I was a little goth boy. A lot of it was also for protection. When I tell you that you could see the air in this place, I mean the air was yellow, and it looked like Charlie Brown's stink lines. I believe you. When you first enter the trailer, there's a living room and a kitchen. The kitchen was a nightmare, sinks full of dishes, like there was not a cubic inch left for dishes, and the counter and tables were full of tied-off grocery bags that contained anything from meat to cleaning supplies, which were the biggest joke of all in this place. There were plates and pans of food just left out so the cats would help themselves because, and they said this with a straight face, it was cheaper than cat food. That's disgusting. The bags were also tied like that to keep the cats out of them, but this inevitably meant that they forgot what was in them, hence the rotten meats and frozen stuff in the bags. As bad as it sounds, the living room was worse. Floors covered in the aforementioned shit and garbage. Cats went willy-nilly about the trash heap. Cobwebs as thick as Halloween decorations hung on the ceiling. Every surface was covered in dust or hair or just yuck, and the floor crunched unhealthily. Ugh. Eyes would stare at you from every nook and cranny, and you were constantly in danger of stepping on a cat. So yeah, just another normal home that I happen to find myself in. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's all fine. This would prove to be a red-letter day for me because it was the first time I got to meet Father Beard. I met Georgia Beard's mother, since she came to visit sometimes. She looked, no disparagement, like the female boomer from Left 4 Dead 2. I'm not entirely sure what that looks like, but I can imagine. Large, soft body, dirty clothes, kind of smelly, but still capable of showering and kind of taking care of herself. Not very well, as the chairs in my house could attest. As the meme says, there goes the woman who doesn't open up her ass cheeks in the shower and let the water run through. I don't have to imagine how stinky that ass could be either. My poor recliner needed to be cleaned every time she used it. Oh dear God. As terrible as that sounds, Mother Beard is but a C-class beard when compared to her husband. Father Beard is an S-tier neckbeard. A God-tier Leviathan. The human personification of the garbage creature from Fraggle Rock. Oh dear God. He lay atop a sagging ancient couch, a sea of garbage around him, with an ashtray of live coals sitting atop a fire waiting to happen, chain-smoking as he watched daytime TV. The 2 dogs sat protectively on either side of him, looking like desert guards for the mighty Jabba, and they growled a little at me as I came inside. As I got close to him, I was hit with an odor all at once. I've worked in a morgue before, dear readers. I have smelled the putrid odor of rotting flesh. When I tell you, I have smelled gangrene-ridden corpses that smelled better than this man. I speak the truth. He was truly an impressive specimen. I threw up a little in my mouth, but thank you. We shook hands, his hand covered in something flaky and gritty, and I was pointed towards the back where GB and M lived. A trip into the back of this house, down a hallway that's floor was all dirty clothes, up to a washer that had long since died, and I was before a door that read GB's room. The room was squalor, but actually clean when compared to the rest of the house. Clothes on the floor, a computer desk where they both played WoW that was covered in ashtrays like old Vegas ladies' slot machines. Every surface was covered in hair and dust, and those surfaces were also covered in crap and nonsense they didn't really need. The bed, however, was a king-size bed and took up about 75% of the room. The whole place reeked of cigarette smoke and cat urine. Lovely. When I had to go in, which wasn't often, I was usually sick for a few days after, as my lungs were full of black mold, ammonia, and probably anthrax. The house was one match away from being a tomb for 4 people and a rat king's worth of cats. But we're all friends again, huzzah! Which of course meant that I was back to being GB's bitch. She would plan fun hangouts that would become, "Can you take us to the grocery store?" Which of course I would, because A, him is my best friend and I like spending time with him. He's like a brother to me, and I didn't want to just leave him at the mercy of this witch and her trolls. B, I know this may come as a bit of a shocker, but I didn't have a lot of friends. My childhood was pretty lonely and made me cling to friends that I had almost to an irrational level. This was before I made some pals in college, months before I even started going, and Im was my only real friend. This did not stop her from shaming me anytime I wanted to spend my money. If I wanted to go out to lunch, "It really makes Eb feel inadequate that he can't join you for lunch. Why do you have to keep talking about it around him?" After mentioning it once. So I'd pay for the 2 of them to have lunch with me. I want a game for my computer, and have to suffer through a 30-minute session of passive aggression from her. I saved up and bought an Xbox for my 23rd birthday, saving about $75 per paycheck just so I could feel like I'd earned it myself. All of my money was being saved for college, or to pay her off, so I was trying to treat myself. Her response? "I bet Eb felt like you were rubbing it in his face when you took us with you to buy it." Bitch! And that's not just me saying it, but also, bitch! For one, you invited yourself, and for 2, I want to spend my birthday with my friend. I didn't notice any face-rubbing comments when I was buying you 2 lunch or paying for your movie tickets. So this goes on for about 3 months until I take her the last payment. She's been writing me receipts, and I think I'm done. Dad, when I told him this, sagely recommends that I get a receipt from the apartments as well. Get something with their letterhead on it, so she can't try to fuck you over later. Dear reader, you should know that I was on cloud 9 when I pulled up in front of the apartment office. I had paid my debts. I was in the clear now. My balance on debt was currently $0 in my mind. I was riding high. I was riding a high that I usually got in owe money to no one and being completely without debt. That lasted right up until the ladies in the office saw me and swooped in like hawks on a rabbit. I hadn't spoken to them in almost 6 months, and they had questions. Questions like, why hadn't I been returning their phone calls? Why was my roommate's fiancé trying to bother them since her name wasn't even on the lease? Why'd I left the apartment trashed? Did I know that if they hadn't heard from me by the end of the day, that I was going to be sent to collections? All this hit me like a 2x4 to the testes, and I just sank into a chair and cried, which is probably why they stopped yelling and realized that something was wrong. Yeah, that's right. I cried. I was overwhelmed. I felt lied to, betrayed, like I was about to be swept up in debt that I would never escape from. Suddenly all my dreams were shattered. All my money would be gone. The knowledge that not just GB but also M had lied to me about this built up in me like a white-hot ball of sulfur. So yeah, I cried. I put my head in my hands and I wept. That's probably the only reason they didn't murder me right there. We sat in the office while they detailed my costs and told me exactly what we owed. The apartment had been abandoned. M and GB having left in the middle of the night. Fucking classy. The whole unit had to be stripped and remodeled. Cabinets, floors, carpet, fixtures, everything. Our security deposit was gone, and they were looking at about $5,000 worth of damages to the unit. That money would need to be paid by Wednesday, 2 days from then, in full, or the manager was transferring us to collections. Our credit would be shot. We wouldn't be able to rent anywhere in the city again. These places talk. And all of this because the stupid bitch and her lies. I called Dad from the parking lot, telling him what happened and looking for advice. Mom's cool under fire. Dad has a level head, and he gives me the best advice you could ask for. Mom is the one you want in a firefight, but Dad's the one you want in a negotiation. I told him everything, crying again, as I told him how I'd been duped. This was going to clean me out. How I didn't know if I was going to make my tuition payment in the fall, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. Without hesitation, he told me, don't do anything yet. Let me go to the bank, pull some money. Go get that piece of shit roommate of yours, and bring him to the leasing office, and make him call his dad. Maybe something can be done to get you boys out of this situation. I told him I didn't want to go into debt with him, and he told me that I never would. You got fucked, kid. But as long as you learned your lesson, so this never happens again, then me bailing you out is money well spent. I will never be able to thank my dad enough for this act of kindness. That made it possible for me to go to college in the fall. Turned out that my grants and scholarships went through and I wasn't actually out of pocket, but he still refused to take a cent to this day. He's a peach of a man who I was horrible to in my teens, and I absolutely do not deserve. So I flew like a bat out of hell to the trailer of the beast. The fates smiled at me that day. Georgia Beard and Mother Beard were out getting groceries, and it was just Father Beard and M. M was just waking up, and I crashed into that squalid room like the FBI and told him to get his fucking clothes on and come with me. Why? Because if you don't come with me and pay this debt, we will be fucking screwed. Since this is basically your fault, I would think you give a little bit more of a shit. Well, what are you Oh, you went by the apartment, did you? That gave me pause. Yeah. Why? Well, GB didn't think you would go there. She said the receipts would probably be enough to... He must have noticed my look of thunderstruck rage as it bloomed on my face. He knew. He fucking knew that this rotten crotch bitch was cheating me out of my money. He knew and had done nothing. Hell, he even benefited from it. I turned and left, telling him, do whatever you want. I'm going back to pay my part of this shit. Don't bother trying to talk to me again. I don't have anything to say to you anymore. You fucking cut me deep, man. I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you again. Dad met me at the office, and with the help of his master debating skills, we came to an understanding. I would pay my half. They would take my name off the lease. This would mean that I wouldn't be responsible if M didn't pay his part, and he would be the only one to suffer for his actions. And that should be the conclusion of our story. But it isn't. You see, unlike the conclusion of another story, I was angry. I'd been duped by people I trusted. I'd been made a fool of, and I could see them laughing at my stupidity. I didn't want closure. I wanted revenge. And so revenge I would have. Stay tuned for part 5, the conclusion, taking of the meal ticket. Yes, bitch! Oh my god, I cannot fucking believe they did that shit, but you get revenge. Look, I know a lot of people will tell you that you're not supposed to do that. You know, something happens, you just let it go. This is the thing. That's not how Moonhorse rolls. These fuckers lied to you. They stole from you. They left you holding the fucking bag, and we're gonna leave you to hang high and dry with fucking collections. As a 20-year-old, you have nothing. You're just trying to go to school, you're just trying to live your life, and all they did was fucking hang you out to dry. And then, to top it all off, steal from you one last fucking time. No, you get your revenge. You get it. Burn their shit to the fucking ground and piss on the ashes. This is a justified, righteous anger. This is a God-given anger. And if anything, I applaud you for it. I cannot wait for the next part, because god damn it, I'm feeling it too. This needs some fire and brimstone, motherfucker. And you better well bring it, because I'm fucking ready. I cannot get over the audacity of these motherfuckers. The worst part isn't just GB. It's that M was in on it. The whole fucking time. How do you fucking get that close to someone? How do you be somebody's family? How do you look them in the fucking eye and do that shit, man? That's evil. That cuts deep. Fuck them both. Burn their shit to the ground. Raise hell, motherfucker. Rage like the god of war that I know you are. I'll be so fucking proud. That'll be the next time, and I hope you're all looking forward to it, because I fucking know I am. Thank you for watching, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe. Do it out of anger. Do it really mean, because that's where we are right now. We need that hate. I have a merch store and a Ko-Fi. Check those out, because I can't stream, and streaming's where a lot of the good stuff comes in, where I get to talk to all of you and hang out and Super chats help a lot too, but I'm fucked out of that because my internet service provider's a bunch of assholes. Big shock, right? So, if you can check out those links, if you can go to those places, you can donate or buy something or whatever, I'd greatly appreciate it. But if you can't, that's okay too. I understand how it is. Don't worry about it. I still love you. That's the most important part. I have my own subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories, where you can send me your own wonderful stories of everything. You know, I don't read enough stories about revenge. Maybe I need to look those up. Either way, this is another fantastic tale, and I am so excited for the next part. Eru, I'm ready to hear this. I'll see you all next time. I love you all so very much. Goodbye, everybody.